And for the record, the reason why they thought that they could get away with lying like this was because cops protect cops. This is how it works. Cops lie all the time, as I've said before, and that's the reason why they thought they could get away with it. All right, let's get to the Uvalde body cam footage with new reports pointing to the systemic failures in police response to the Uvalde school
troubling
shooting.
Images and a new report about the botched police response to the Uvalde school shooting. That city's mayor has now released body cam footage from first responders, and that footage shows confusion among some of the officers about what exactly is happening, even though one policeman told the others his wife could be among the victims. Lilia Luciano is in Uvalde for us once again this morning. Lilia, good morning. First comprehensive report to come out. What are we learning?
Well, Tony, what we're getting is a fuller picture of the chaos of that excruciating.
Bro, this video, the Uvalde story is so fucking crazy because it's quite literally like every week they're like, oh my God, it turns out they were dumber than we thought. Oh my God, it turns out here's a video of a cop literally being like, I don't really care about fucking this school shooting. Like, my favorite show is on and I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to get home on time. It's just cop shit. And it is in broad fucking daylight for the first time ever because people finally fucking were like, let's ask some questions about the situation because this is a devastating incident, right? And something doesn't add up with what the cops were fucking saying. That's it.
Weight, but what we may never understand is having an understanding of why it took nearly 400 officers from at least 7 different law enforcement agencies 73 minutes to take down the shooter. I will warn you, the images you're about to see were edited to protect the families, but many will still find them distressing.
Oh, shots fired! Get inside! Go, go, go! Take cover, guys. Am I bleeding? Am I bleeding? Am I bleeding?
New body cam footage released by the Uvalde mayor shows the first moments officers arrived at Robb Elementary School.
Dog, you might be thinking 400 officers, 7 fucking different precincts and 7 agencies? What the fuck's going on? This is America as a police state. This is what happens when the only fucking institutions that are actually getting funding, adequate funding, more than adequate funding, and expansive budgets is the military, policing overseas and colonialism, and the police force for policing domestically, operating as an occupying force here. And for the record, all the fucking ex-military motherfuckers in the chat will also admit this, but like, as much as the army and as much as the military loves to say like, you know, how brave they are or whatever, ultimately it's not like they're more competent either. They're certainly more competent than the cops, and they have a different rule. They have different rules of engagement. But being in the military and touring in Afghanistan, in many instances, is about fucking literally just getting shot at with sniper fire from across the, across the fucking tree line, ducking into a trench or, hiding behind a fucking wall as you wait for air cover to come in and fucking rip wherever the tree line is with air support. That's it. That's like what the military does. Because human beings are not John Rambo. Human beings are not like the way that you see human beings in movies. We're understandably terrified of guns. We're understandably terrified of losing our lives. This is a perfectly normal thing. But the idea that we have John Rambos everywhere, both in the military and both in the fucking police force, is a silly notion that allows this level of militarization in the police force and allows the funds to never dry out for the police force. That allows the Uvalde police force to get 40% of the fucking budget. That's how it works, okay? But when push comes to shove, this is the reality. When push comes to shove, this is how cops operate because that's how humans operate. This is how it is.
That's my wife's classroom. He's shooting in the classroom. I got me, right?
About 4 minutes after the shooter entered rooms 111 and 112, one officer is grazed. School police officer Ruben Ruiz was heard in the background, recognizing his wife's classroom.
Dude, we gotta get in there. We gotta get in there. He just keeps shooting.
But seconds later, confusion and misinformation. In a different body cam video from another officer who heads outside to take cover and alert dispatch, he seems to believe the suspect is inside an office.
He's contained. We got multiple officers inside the building at this time. He believes he's barricaded in one of the offices. I messed up, it's still shooting.
Shortly after, the urgency fades and officers are seen waiting and waiting,
What are we doing
looking
here?
for guidance.
What are we doing here?
Some begin to break windows and pull students out of the building.
Yeah, go, 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 go.
By now, we see the first images of the school district's chief of police, Pete Arredondo.
Sir, if you can hear me, please put your firearm down, sir. We don't want anybody else hurt.
Arredondo and other officers try to negotiate with the suspect.
Let me know if there's any kids in there or anything. This could be peaceful.
We hear police dispatch alert officers.
Are you fucking kidding me? You know, there's a reason why there's a specialist for this shit, dude. Even in the movies, you see that where they're like, oh, don't talk to the fucking guy holding the hostages until the hostage negotiator comes in. This motherfucker's like, yo, bro, come on, please. If I say pretty pink, please, will you leave the kids alone?
That a child is calling 911 from inside a classroom.
Oh, by the way, they just straight up lied. Every one of these videos shows that they just lied across the board as like little pieces came fucking falling bit by bit. Every single thing that they said originally and then every single follow-up that they had to like cover their fucking tracks, all a lie. Remember when they were like, we didn't know there was still shooting happening.
Hey, what was that?
In a room full of victims.
Close to 5 minutes later.
And for the record, the reason why they thought that they could get away with lying like this was because cops protect cops. This is how it works. Cops lie all the time. As I've said before, they have a term for it. It's called test the lying. And that's the reason why they thought they could get away with it. But this time it was like such a severe situation that like 19 little babies were fucking slaughtered so ruthlessly that there was a little bit of pushback from the media for once. Instead of taking everything that they said hook, line, and sinker. They said they had no body armor. They said they have no method of communication with dispatch. All was a fucking lie. By the way, thank you to the anonymous gifter for gifting 10 gifted subs. And they had fucking body cam footage. Like, why did you lie about it? Well, they lied about it because they thought that they would be able to get away with it.
Arredondo is seen heading towards a classroom, not where the shooter was, to test keys and appears unable to open it. More minutes tick by, with little action appearing to be taken by the officers inside the school, besides trying to talk to the suspect.
Please put your gun down, sir. Please don't hurt anyone else.
And more keys to open the door that we've come to learn was likely already unlocked.
We're testing keys.
There were multiple systemic failures.
On Sunday, a Texas committee found that the chaotic scene was caused by a lack of leadership. The committee released a 77-page report which found that those first responders who went right towards a shooter's classroom within minutes acted appropriately at first. But all officers failed to prioritize saving the lives of...
Bro, where's his manners, dude? Where's the mass school shooter's manners? The chief of police is saying, pretty pink, please. I'm surprised. I mean, seriously.
Of innocent victims over their own safety. It also found that the shooter had a problematic history and even earned the nickname school shooter on social media platforms because of violent threats he would make against other users.
If you know there's active shooting, active killing going on, or somebody is dying, the standard is you have to continue to do something to stop that killing.
The report said that there were no villains, that nobody acted, other than the shooter, of course, with ill motive. It also states that while it's likely most people died within the first minutes, it's plausible others may have been saved if police had acted sooner. They're waiting for more medical evidence to conclude how many. Tony.
All right, Lilia, thank you very much. Lilia made that note at the end. The report points out that some victims died on the way to the hospital. So while they use the word plausible, I think anyone who's even been around an ER will tell you that if you're alive on the way to the hospital and you could have gone sooner, there's a good chance they would have had a better shot at saving your life.
100%. That's how that works.
Well, certainly, Ryan, it paints the chaos of the day. You know, we've spent the day reporting about the investigative committee's findings, and a lot of it talks about the chaos of the day, the lack of command. And what we see in this newly body camera footage that we obtained from the mayor here of the city of Uvalde, Don McLaughlin, releasing it to us first. What you see here is a picture of officers really not in control. You have officers outside of the school trying to assess the situation, and then you have officers inside. And specifically, for the first time, we've seen that video, Ryan, of the inside of the school, the hallway of the school. For the first time now on this body camera footage, we see Pete Arredondo, the school police chief. We get to see him in action as he's talking to the officers, as he's near the door of where the classroom is, and some of the decision making that goes into it. Certainly, viewers may find some of the footage disturbing, so just a warning on that. Certainly the language and the footage really depicts just that day, what officers were facing and the chaos of that day.
Shots fired!
701.
Get inside!
PD units.
Go, go, go!
Shot in the head.
New body cam video released by the Uvalde mayor shows the frantic first moments police arrived on scene at Robb Elementary. This video taken by Uvalde Police Sergeant Daniel Coronado as he made his way inside the building. But within moments, more gunshots.
Shots fired inside the building, Uvalde!
Which building?
I want to point out that like a lot of the fucking body camera footage, at least like they're showing, is making them look more favorable too. It doesn't seem like it to you because like they're fucking awful, but it's the best that they could do.
I can't break. Somebody can break. Careful, guys. Shot fired. Two guys right up. Get there. Can't break in here. Can you somebody break? Take cover, guys.
After taking cover outside, Sergeant Coronado gives his first update on the situation to
Chat, breathing that hard in a situation is normal. I mean, I know most likely fat, just like all these other fucking cops, but it is a high intensity situation. Not to defend him, but he's not just like winded, you know what I mean? It's you start hyperventilating in a situation like that because you're scared. No, he is fat. No, I know he's fat. He's a cop. Of course he's fat. What do you mean? Have you seen American cops? Dude, going into Europe, cops literally look like fucking models, dude. It's insane. I forgot that cops are not fat in other parts of the country, or other parts of the planet, sorry. Look at his fucking watch. It's like squeezing. His body is squeezing out the fucking watch, dude.
responding officers.
Okay, guys. He's inside this building. We have him contained. He's gonna be on the building on the west side of the property.
This guy is literally taking cover outside the building like I'm playing fucking Tarkov, dude. Yeah, that's what I do too. That's not called taking cover. That's called running and hiding, okay? When you double back and you leave the fucking vicinity where the school shooting is happening and decide to fucking throw kids and their bodies in front of you, because that's literally what you're doing. What you're supposed to be doing in a situation like this, the proper protocol for police, is to literally throw your body on the line. That's what you're supposed to do. You don't need to pass a physical test to become a policeman in the U.S. No, dude. The only thing you need to pass is make sure that you don't get too high of a fucking IQ score. That's it.
Careful with the windows facing east. Right there.
Minutes later, Coronado tells dispatch what he believes is happening. That the gunman is in one of the school's offices, not a classroom.
Male subject's in the school on the west side of the building. He's contained. We got multiple officers inside the building at this time.
I think.
We believe he's barricaded in one of the offices. Male subject is still shooting.
But as the minutes continue to tick by, the urgency first seen by the initial response fades away. Instead, Uvalde police officers are seen hunkering down, waiting for more backup. Critical moments pass by at a time children were still alive in the classroom. At one point, you can hear Sergeant Coronado asking for permission to open a door into the hallway, where armed officers are already.
Bro, this is so fucked up, dude. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Are you joking, bro? Motherfucker's on his on Twitter, dude. Also, it's got to be really hard distinguishing between cops. Like, it's wild how much they look exact. Like, every cop looks the same. It's insane.
Waiting for more backup.
He's posting like, damn, bro, shit's heated up in here. I'm in a school shooting. Hashtag club going up.
Critical moments pass by at a time children were still alive in the classroom.
Yeah, he's playing Farmville, dude. He's like, I got to check in on my farm, dude. I might get invaded.
At one point, you can hear Sergeant Coronado asking for permission to open a door into the hallway, where armed officers are already inside.
Officers inside the building, am I clear to open the door here on the south side of the building?
It's after this moment that we learn that Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo is inside the building, as other officers crowd around looking for guidance. Arredondo has been a central figure in the state's investigation of the shooting. DPS Director Steve McCraw calling his actions on the day of the massacre a quote.
Yeah, bro, tell me I'm wrong, bro. I swear to God, they fucking make you, the more thumb-like you are, the higher your level of cop is. Literally, they only made him the highest level cop. They made him chief of police because he's the fattest, dude. Literally, look at this man. He's just the most thumb-like, bro. He is literally just like, oh, bro, okay, well, I guess we gotta... Come on, bro. Arredondo has to be police chief, bro. You've been slacking on the donuts. You haven't been eating your fucking, you haven't been eating your fucking... I'm forgetting what the name is. The police chief is totally their fall guy, the scapegoat, and no one sees it. Yeah, I mean, he's bad, but everything is bad.
Inside the building, as other officers crowd around looking for guidance. Arredondo has been a central figure in the state's investigation of the shooting. DPS Director Steve McCraw calling his actions on the day of the massacre a, quote, abject failure. As more officers arrive and more in action, you can hear police begin to seek direction.
What are we doing here?
We also have video from Officer Justin Mendoza, who also arrived on the scene. At 11:58 local time, police helped the first students and teachers from a nearby classroom escape the building. At the same time, Sergeant Coronado can be seen helping children escape from a window outside. At this point, it had been nearly 25 minutes since police first entered the building. More than 12 minutes later, we get our first glimpse of Chief Arredondo.
No, he literally is like, what are we doing here? We're cops. We're not supposed to solve anything. We're not supposed to stop like a school shooting from happening. What are we doing here? That's weird.
In the hallway of Robb Elementary. You can hear him pleading with the gunman to give up, but seemingly unaware that children may still be inside the classroom.
Let me know if there's any kids in there or anything. This could be peaceful. Could you tell me your name? Anything I can know, please?
Moments later, a critical piece of the puzzle from the camera of Officer Mendoza. 911 dispatch.
You only need to run a 9-minute mile to be a cop, brother. There's like 8 people there that can do that. And those are like the Bortak guys, okay? People saying you can walk that. You think any of those fat fucks can walk a fucking 9-minute mile, brother? Are you insane? Are you out of your mind? Did you not see what that dude was doing? He was hyperventilating. It's 1.5 miles in 13 minutes, not 9.
Dispatch gives a chilling account from a student still in the classroom.
You have a child on the line.
Hey, what was that?
It's going to be room 12. I will need to see I think he is in a room full of victims at this moment.
And yet, even with that information, 6 minutes go by without any sort of response. Then we see Arredondo with a set of keys, trying and failing to make entry into a classroom near where the gunman is barricaded, eventually handing the keys off to another officer, who does make entry. More heavily armored officers arrive, but no one gives the order to go in. Then suddenly, a new round of gunfire.
What happened? I thought the brutality was over. Like, they made it seem like it was, right? I mean, they made it seem like it was not an active shooting situation. It almost feels like if everybody recognizes that it was an active shooting situation, you will recognize that this was a clear abdication of responsibility. That their duty, not constitutionally protected, by the way. Of course, the Constitution found police to not be legally liable in an instance like this. So they are constitutionally doing the correct thing, right? But their job clearly states, or their standard of protocol, their SOP or whatever the fuck it's called, means that they have to run directly in the fucking directly towards the shooter and fight him with everything they have, right? They're not doing that. So they have to lie and be like, "Oh, it wasn't an active shooting situation. Like, we just didn't realize."
But after those gunshots, Arredondo again tries to talk with the shooter.
Can you hear me, sir?
And again, minutes later,
Sir, if you can hear me, please put your firearm down, sir. We don't want anybody else hurt.
Yeah, general SOPs for active shooting scenarios is to immediately engage a barricaded subject. The subject opens fire. Yes.
I know.
That's what we're doing.
But I guess the SOP for Arredondo was asking nicely. I mean, it's literally like a meme. It's like, have you tried asking him nicely? Have you tried calling the fucking mass shooter sir and say, "Pretty pink, please"? No. Well, guess what, dude? You deserve it. Then you couldn't.
We're trying to get him out.
after no response, police still stand around without much urgency. Over the course of the next nearly 30 minutes, we see more officers arrive. The video obtained by CNN cuts.
Oh, thank God, more Thumbelinas arrived, dude, on scene. What are they gonna do, bro? Also, simultaneously ask. They're gonna have him surrounded so they can ask nicely one more time.
Out moments before police breach the classroom and kill the shooter at 12:51 local time. By then, many young, innocent children and
it's just so disrespectful because, like, there's another story I'm going to show you after this where basically cops in Denver injured 5 fucking bystanders while shooting a man who allegedly pointed a gun at police officers, okay? Cops literally did a fucking mass shooting in Denver. Like, that's so insane to me. We already talked about Jalen Walker, where the cops got together and, like, and unloaded like 90 bullets in his vicinity, in his direction, 60 fucking wounds on Jalen Walker's corpse, handcuffing his like dead body on the ground. Okay, so like we know they're capable of being brutal. Hasan, come on, Hasan, this is a school, not a traffic stop. What do you mean, come on, Hasan, this is a school, not a traffic stop? They shouldn't do that thing at the traffic stop, and they should actually be a little bit more fucking active in this circumstance. I know you're joking. I think you're joking. I can't tell sometimes. Sorry.
their 2 teachers were dead.
And so, Ryan, this certainly paints a more complete picture. Remember, that video that leaked of the school hallway really upset the mayor here, Mayor Don McLaughlin. He was furious over that leak because he felt it was unfair to the families, and he also felt that it was unfair to the investigation because it only showed us one side of what was going on in that school. And so this new video, and this is why he released it, Ryan, what I think our viewers need to understand is that the district attorney, the investigators here, have been holding this video back. And he felt that out of transparency, for transparency purposes, out of fairness, that this side of the investigation, that this side of what happened that day needed to be released. He potentially faces some kind of consequences for doing this, but he says he doesn't care. He's even been afraid that perhaps the district attorney would prosecute him if he was to release this information. But he feels that in fairness to the family, in fairness to this investigation, that it needed to be released. And the other thing we should note for viewers is that we did not publish this. We did not air this video until we knew that family members had been made aware that this video existed and that the mayor said that he would be releasing it. And so we took a lot of that into consideration, of course. But I think this video is very important. It takes, people inside the halls of that school. It shows the police response and just how terrible it was, how some of the decision making was very confusing. You had officers outside who really didn't know what was going on inside. And as we've heard all day, there was no command structure. There was no one making decisions, and it was kind of a free-for-all. And I think this video illustrates that. It also shows that officers were getting kids out of the other classrooms, of course, and rescuing those kids. But significant, of course, in all of this is the fact that this...
The fucking chief stopped the husband of the dead teacher to go to the classroom. Uvalde PD keeps back Ruben Ruiz while his wife was in the room with the gunman.
Hey. Ruben. She said she shot Johnny. This is about the both of us.
What the fuck? Bro, that's insane. Just let him go in, dude. What is this? And he listened, too. What the fuck? They're like, get him out of here. He's being belligerent. He wants to fucking stop the shooting from happening. He said, bro, what the fuck? Dude, walk it off. Ruben, walk it off, Lieutenant Ruiz. Remember, you're a cop. You're not supposed to do anything in the situation. For a second, you thought you were, I don't know, like a school child or something. Like, they are the ones who are supposed to be fighting back against this school shooter. Isn't that the cop people were sitting on for checking his phone and seeing if his wife was all right? I think they claimed that, but I don't think that's the same cop. But maybe. They all look the same, so I don't know. Literally every cop has the same thumb-like shape. Impossible to fucking figure out which cop is which, so... Supreme Court rules 6-3 that the shooter should just carry out his constitutional right without police intervention. Yeah, they should leave. Please tell me you saw this. 3 cops opened fire at a Denver bar. Yes.
Now to
We're going to cover it in a little bit. Let's finish this.
Police response just really was so bad, and I think that's what this video illustrates. And that's why the mayor said, look, I know this is...
Yeah, that's a different cop, chat. Oh, wait, no, that's also a different cop. She says she shot down there in the most calm and relaxed voice and just walked out. Didn't need to be forced out. What the actual fuck? I'm losing my mind. I mean, he might be like fucking, I don't know, in shock or something. I don't know.
Going to probably not be great for us, but it needs to be released. And as they announced today, they will be making changes to the police department and also enhancing some training and making some new measures so that hopefully, you know, of course, this doesn't happen again, Ryan.
Shimon, that is hard to watch. There's no other way to describe it. Especially, I know hindsight is 20/20, but to see and hear those gunshots going off and knowing what was on the other side of that door.
Hindsight is 20/20. What about foresight? We all knew that this was shit. We all knew that they were fucking just completely incompetent.
Is just unbelievable. And then to see the police officers not even knowing for 100% certainty that the gunman was in a classroom with children is just, I don't know. It is, it almost leaves you speechless.
It's the confusion of that, I think we keep hearing. I think this is so important. There was just an extreme amount of confusion for some reason. And the fact that people didn't know that you had a sergeant who was outside making these decisions, it just seems strange. He was asking for the wrong things. He had no idea what was going on inside. And I think that's where the breakdown clearly was. And, you know, we saw that in the report. And, of course, we've been hearing a lot about that. But, you know, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. There's still other footage that we need to see and radio transmission. So we're getting there. And I think this is the other thing. We have been asking for this video for quite some time, really since the beginning. And finally, we have it here. And the mayor, I think it was the families, hearing the families, our interviews with the families, him listening to the families. And so we kept asking him for it. And finally, he said it was time to release it for transparency reasons. And so here we are today. And I think it will give viewers, it's difficult to watch, certainly, but it will give them another perspective of what happened here. And it's a very important perspective.
And now to Uvalde, Texas, and the fiery public response to a report highlighting failures in the police response to that school shooting that killed 19 young children and 2 of their teachers. People filled the room at last night's school district meeting, demanding that officials explain those mistakes and take responsibility. Lydia,
good luck asking for a fucking a cop or a representative of the police to take responsibility for anything. That's not going to happen. But good luck. I mean, try.
Luciano is in Uvalde, where she attended that meeting. Leila, good morning. I saw
conservatives are running laps of victory around now about some 22-year-old stopping a shooter and shouting about how right they are while shoving all this away. Again, they lack object permanence. They have baby brains. So, of course, they're like, oh, we got one. We got one. We got one. Good guy with a gun. Good guy with a gun. We got one. Good guy with a gun, dude. That's it. Fucking avoid the mountain of evidence that, like, having a gun in any sort of situation escalates that situation to increases dramatically the likelihood of gun violence happening. And the millions of other instances where good guys, the goodest of all guys, cops with guns, have failed to do the right thing. failed to apprehend a shooter and just focus on the one instance. If neither had guns and the 3 people wouldn't die, literally don't need to look past the story. Exactly.
One parent say every time we hear something, it re-triggers us. It like opens the pain up all over again. And what they heard yesterday was horrendous. Good morning to you.
That's right, Galen. Good morning. For many of those parents I talked to and I heard from, it was the first school board meeting that they attended. They say they had to do it. This community is in shock that School Police Chief Pete Arredondo is still on administrative leave. They want him fired, and they also called for the superintendent to step down. This community is ready for change, and they are angry.
You saw the videos. It's out there, and now we all know the truth.
That truth, spelled out in excruciating detail in a damning report by state lawmakers, brought an outraged community to Monday's Uvalde School District meeting.
What are you going to do to make sure I don't have to wait 77 minutes bleeding out on my classroom floor just like my little sister did?
Raw grief, fear, and skepticism, including among Uvalde's youngest, like Maylee Taylor.
I don't want to go to your guys' school.
Liberals be like, ISO cops that are between Uvalde cops absolutely doing nothing and Denver cops just absolutely blasting a crowd. I'm going crazy. The system is broken and rotten to its core. I'm the resident liberal here. What? I understand what you're trying to say.
If they don't have protection.
The superintendent outlined changes the district is making to protect students, from tightening school access points and adding more security cameras to hiring additional police officers. But many said the precautions are too little too late.
You hired trash. That's not right. I lost a loved one right here.
The state's investigation found that school administrators did not adequately prepare for the risk of an armed intruder, pointing to faulty locks and relaxed security policies.
He's saying that libs want cops that are somehow between those two levels of inactivity and violence? Oh, yeah. When the reality is the solution to all of this comes from structural change, legislation, making it harder to have weapons, things like that. Because, as much as I shit on cops for creating a fucking false notion that they are, literally stopping shooters dead in their tracks and, fucking swan diving in front of cocks to, prevent rapes from happening or whatever the fuck the media makes it seem like cops are doing on a regular basis. I understand that they're human beings in the end. I mean, barely, but still. And human beings are cowards. They don't want to fucking die, okay? They don't want to die. Make the jobs fucking more manageable and easier by, I don't know, trying to take away some of these fucking guns that are on the streets. It's crazy. But no, we want to act like cops are superhuman and they can, they will always fucking run and put themselves in danger regularly. When that's not the case. It's not the case. Of course that's not the case. It's fucking crazy.
That gave the attacker unimpeded access to enter the classrooms.
And the only time they actually fucking put themselves in danger, or the narrative that they're constantly putting themselves in fucking danger, is a justification for all of the not so dangerous times when they fucking have a hair trigger and mag dump into a unarmed black suspect running away. That's to justify that level of brutality. Okay?
The superintendent, you're top dog, correct?
Yes.
So you should know what's going on in your schools?
Correct.
Why don't you?
The report also concluded that the gunman likely murdered most of his victims before any responders set foot in the building, and that others may have survived if police hadn't assembled in a hallway waiting to act for an additional 73 minutes.
I feel like most of these meetings are pointless.
This was the first school board meeting for Jose Flores Sr. and Cynthia Herrera since their 10-year-old Jose Flores was killed. 2 days after the shooting, we spoke with his stepsister, 9-year-old survivor Andrea Herrera. The parents say Andrea's not returning to school until they see significant change.
I'm scared that it just might happen again.
And is it hard having to see all these officers around? Well, I don't even focus on that. Everybody who was recorded in that video and ran the other way, they all need to be fired. There's no point of having them there.
Superintendent Hal Harrell stood by the move to put Arredondo on leave. He said the board will use the findings from the committee investigating the shooting from those legislators to make a final decision. They did not say when that decision will come. Tony.
Only be put in class with an active shooter for an hour? That's not how that works.
All right, Lily, thank you very much.
Yeah, part of the frustration, I think, for these families is it's been so difficult to get a straight answer. When you think about what happened in the beginning, that big news conference with the governor and all the officials praising the work that the law enforcement officers had done, and then to see on tape that none of that was true.
I know.
It's just heartbreaking and very frustrating.
Yeah, nice little fucking paid leave, dude. What do you mean? Nice little fucking paid leave action. You know how it is. You know how it works.